Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Square Ring Podcast, everybody. Episode 44. Today we have Shawn Douglas, of which he just turned into a brand new man.
Yep, he is the recent graduate of the Ace Academy. We gave him his plaque this past Saturday night. We got pictures of that plaque. Well, there's the Ace Academy symbol there, but we do have pictures somewhere of that plaque. We'll just probably fill it in as we go. Mr. Douglas, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Cannot complain for me. I don't know about Nate. He's always got a complaint somewhere. But now he's going to be quiet. There you go. So, Mr. Douglas, I'm sure this is probably the first podcast that you've been on, but we want to know a little bit more about you. Okay. So I'm just going to go get it started. What influenced you from being, I'm assuming you're a fan of wrestling, and that's why you got in it, but what actually sealed the deal of you wanting to get into training and being a professional wrestler?
So growing up, I always went to shows with my uncle and watched him wrestle. So not only was I watching it on TV at home, on the weekends I was actually going to shows. So I finally was like, this is what I want to do. How do I go about getting into training? And he's like, well, there's, a couple different places that you can go. And then I ended up going to CHWA, just to get some bumps in and start to, get a feel for the ring and everything.
Right.
And then I finally come to Ace to get better training.
Now, what brought you to the best wrestling school in the world?
Yeah.
Did you say me?
Yeah, I mean, because I had already had it kind of in my mind that I was going to come, but I just didn't know when. And then Jim was actually at one of my last matches before I came to SICW, and me and him had sat down and talked, and he kind of sealed the deal for me. And then I decided I was going to come.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know if what I had to say mattered. So as long as you say it does, I'll tell everyone what I say matters in life. No, your CHC. I know everyone gave them shit for being backyard, wrestlers and stuff like that. But in my point of view, it doesn't matter where you come from. A lot of good guys started in the backyards. So I don't know where they get that negative, stamp put on them. But, the Hardy Boys were backyarders. CM Punk was a backyarder. So, a lot of good people. But they just realized, kind of like you did, that, it's cool to be a backyarder and you can get your fans, and the fans are going to be religious to you guys. But I don't know if you've seen the CM Punk documentary that WWE had, but even he realized at some point that he was going to need training to get to the next level. And that's what happened to Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. They had their own, backyard group. And, eventually they wanted to get one step further. So they joined another organization that started teaching them, giving them better training, and that which led to the WWF at that time. So it's always a good starting area. And I know they had some wrestlers come in there and train, help train you guys. But it's always good to branch out. Because you're not going to get anywhere being stuck in one spot.
Right.
Unless
with just wrestling the same guys over and over again. After a while, you need to change it up.
Well, even at that, sometimes you can have a really good match with one guy and keep that going. But normally they take that match on the road. So they'll take it, I hate to keep saying CM Punk, but I just recently watched his documentary. And him and his friend, took their match on the road, and everyone started realizing how good they were, going against each other. And eventually they wanted that particular match on their show. And that's how they got their names, out there. So it's always good.
Right.
So how long did you work for CHAW, is it?
CHWA.
WA.
Probably, I want to say almost probably 3 years.
Okay. Now,
Yeah. To further Jim's question, where do you plan on going with it? Are you going to go to Midwest? Are you going to stay with SICW a while? Where are you going to? What are your plans?
As of right now, unless it was, like a contract where I was, making good money, I plan on keeping my home SICW.
I mean, that's pretty smart. I was eventually going to get to that question, but I just wanted more of your background info. So you were at CHWA for 3 years. Who was there any wrestlers that came in that started to help you train?
Chris Exodus helped me train quite a bit. Jeremy Lightfoot, he helped me a whole lot with, stuff backstage to how to, carry yourself in the ring. He helped with a lot of that. And I mean, just a lot of the guys in the back in general, they all kind of looked out for one another and gave everybody pointers like almost sitting locker room is.
Well, I got to give my props to Jeremy Lightfoot. Me and him had some major battles back and forth in the years gone by, but great guy. Much respect to Jeremy Lightfoot. Definitely. Huh?
I said I'll never forget the match me and him had.
Or are you kind of
Me
breaking
and
up? One more time.
I said I'll never forget the match that me and him had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had an Oklahoma death match.
All
It was
right, I'm
one of
interested.
the
Yeah.
of me
The
being
weight,
there.
the weight difference intrigues me.
ICW. It was one of the last big feuds I was doing. And it was his idea, and all I said was, "If that's what you want to do, I'm down." I was like, "If that's how you want to, have it as a blow off match, let's do it." It was fun, but it
Well, what's
hurt.
what's the rules in an Oklahoma death match?
So it's like a strap match, essentially. Um, you got your wrist strapped to the other person, and the only way to win is to make your opponent submit.
You had to make him submit.
Well, he won.
Oh,
But yeah, that was also the match I ended up hurting my knee. So
yeah, that's always a bummer when the injuries start early. You never want
yeah,
the injuries to start early. All right, so when I found you, you weren't in that organization. You're in IEW, and I like I like going to some shows that I can not necessarily scout people, but
right,
a lot of people treat me like a scout when I do show up, just because they know the organization that I'm in. Of course, SICW. So a lot of people ask my opinions, and I've always liked your uncle, and what would his dad be to you? Um, your I don't
Great
know,
uncle.
great uncle. I don't know, but I've
right.
always had respect for both of those guys, and I just was happy watching it, watching the show, and your great uncle was asking me to watch your matches, just because I think he wanted more for you as well, and not that IEW couldn't get there with you, but I don't think they had a set training program or anything like that.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that's the benefit of having Ace Academy, and not that I'm a great teacher or Sean Vincent's a great teacher. It's just that we have certain things that we do with the students And your big thing is I had to try to break some of your habits that you had. Just by not
They
being trained on
never
certain
did.
things. What'd you say?
At a combined weight of 453 pounds. First, from Gary, Indiana, Big Nasty Williams. His partner from San Francisco, California, is Shawn Douglas.
You guys hear me?
Yep,
You are
now you're
now
perfect.
perfect. Sweet.
Yeah.
Do
I
not
don't know
move the
what.
camera.
Freeze.
All right. So we were talking about you working at Chihuahua for 3 years. I seen you at IEW, and like I said, IEW is a good place. I really like some of the people over there. So I have no problem with anyone, but I kind of picked you out, wanted to get you some more training, get you over to Ace, and I'm glad you came. You're probably with Ace not that long. What, probably 9 months?
Just about, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
At range.
yeah. So I think like the main thing about you is I had to get some of the things that you were doing wrong out of your um, what the hell you want to call it,
Repertoire.
repertoire. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
just different things, but yeah. So you picked up pretty easy, pretty quickly. So I'm glad that you were able to graduate. We're actually going to do this last month, but something happened where I don't think you were there, or we weren't there, or maybe the plaques wasn't there, so we had to kind of postpone it and do it this past
Yeah.
Saturday.
So when Bryce had graduated, I wasn't able to make that show.
Okay, so that's what it
It was
was.
speed taping, and I had to be on duty at the fire department that day, so I couldn't make it for the show
Yeah, so let's throw that in there. How long you been a volunteer fireman?
for 4 years.
4 years. Is that is that something you want to do besides wrestling, or is it where you gonna take the fireman versus the wrestling part?
Now, if I wasn't to go big with wrestling, I would want to get onto a paid department as a
No,
firefighter.
okay. So I know there's some classes you got to take. Are you taking those classes to get certified and everything?
Yes,
That's cool. That's cool. So
You're pretty young. When did you start wrestling?
when I was 14, on and off since I was 14.
so 15, 16, 17. How old are you now?
18, 19 in February.
There you go. I mean, and that's really what you got to do when you're trying to do this business now. You can't start later on. I mean,
Right.
back in the day, you could, DDP did it when he was in his late 30s, I think. But this is a young man's game. The younger you start, the better off you're going to be if you want to keep this as your career. Um, so you definitely got a little head start on everyone. So that's great. Just hopefully, you stick with it. Even though you work for SICW, and I'm a proud, wrestler for SICW, you do got to branch out a little bit, So I would tell you to keep your SICW dates, but go to kind of like what Brandon and Joey's doing, where they're going to New Breed and they're going to Memphis and
Right.
going up to, I think Brandon was just in Ohio, I want to say, but you got to keep kind of spreading your wings, and that's the only way that you're going to be discovered. Herb, does a great job of getting legends in, and sometimes you can get discovered that way, via a legend watching your match and everything. But a lot of times on the independent route, the more places you can cover, the easier it is to get your name out there and kind of be discovered and stuff. So, I mean,
Right.
And don't forget Texas and Florida, big development in both those states.
oh yeah, I mean, we've been talking to James Beard here lately, and there's a Texas resurrection, I guess you would say, of wrestling that's coming out of there. And I just seen Miranda Gordy was wrestling over there on the weekend too, for that Texas, was it Texas Strong Style or Texas Style Wrestling? Can't remember what James called it. But yeah, I know she was just out there this weekend, so that's kind of cool that she's already working for that organization. Um, so where do you see yourself going? What do you want to be? Do you want to make it to like WWF, I mean WWF, WWE or AEW, or what do you think has got a better fit for you?
If I, were able to get the opportunity to go that route, I 100% would, no doubt in my mind. But I also have a plan if I weren't to make it big with wrestling, I would still have something that I'm into.
I mean, a lot of people too. That even if they do make it big in wrestling, they always got something in the back pocket because you never know if you're going to get hurt or you get fired and you don't get picked up at another place. You got to have something to fall back on.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Um,
look at James. He does his appraisals and all the things that he does. JBL does the investing, and
right?
you have to have something. You have to have a fallback option.
Right.
Yeah, because unless you're in the back, doing the corporate part of the job, there's no retirement benefits. So there's nothing to retire on. But no, what I was asking earlier, do you think, because I feel there's a big difference between like AEW versus WWE. Where
Right.
would you think that you would prefer to go? Where would you like to wrestle if given the opportunity?
Probably WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No AEW?
They do too much stupid shit, man.
That's awesome.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Tell us how you
Uh,
really feel. I think you're holding back.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you
So
know,
let me ask you.
having
Uh,
some in a match is one thing, but some of
right.
that, like Gary was saying on Saturday, I'm not getting hit with a light tube.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just, I'm not doing it.
They're right. I
You can
mean, it's
get hurt. Just, they swing it the wrong way. No, I'm good.
yeah. I mean, for those who want to do that stuff, by all means.
Right.
But your longevity in the business is not going to be too long. Even just doing regular moves, people get hurt. So if you start doing that crazy stuff all the time throughout the whole match, I mean, you're not helping yourself and equaling out the odds or anything that you're not going to get hurt.
Right.
I normally ask everyone if they were a WWE kid or if they are a WCW kid. With you being so young, I don't even know if you know what WCW. Did you watch any of that growing up?
So I'll be honest. Now I barely watch any actual WWE current stuff. It's all old WWF, WCW, ECW. All like that's just the better matches are there. It's
Yeah,
there's matches today, but the people I'm interested in, Triple H, Batista, Orton, that's all back then, and that's
yeah.
what I like. And
So,
Taker. So
so I'm just gonna ask you again. When you were growing up, were you able to catch any WCW, or was it more of a WWE?
it was more of a WWE.
Okay, so you're a WWE kid. I'll take that then.
Other than what Jake, me and him would sit down and watch.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be something special for me to actually sit down and watch the product. I guarantee you, I don't watch it when it first happens. So, like today's Monday, I probably won't watch Raw. Well, it's going on literally right now as we're here.
Yep.
But if I hear something through the internet where this particular match or this particular spot you got to look at, I might YouTube it tomorrow or find some way to see it just to see what they were talking about. But for the most part, I don't really watch anything new.
Right.
I don't think any of us do. Bobby's normally with us, but Bobby is coaching tonight for the Little Devils, so he's not here. But yeah, none of us, I think, watches any of the new product when it comes out.
Right.
Um, but even when I'm training, not training, but when I'm coaching up at the Ace Academy, I preach going back and watching the old school stuff. I love the 80s and the 70s. Even going back to the black and white. I preach the black and white stuff. It's easy to follow along. It's easy to dissect the match, to dissect the moves, and you can learn a lot from the olden stuff, the golden era of wrestling. Um, Nate, I think it's time for us to play our new game.
That's
I don't know.
right. So, everybody watching, we are putting on a new game. I would say sponsored by SICW and the Ace Academy, but no, it's just us. All right,
So
what we're
what
going to
gonna
do
have
is
you
we're
do,
going to
Shawn?
show you gimmicks from the past, Shawn, and we're going to test your knowledge.
Okay.
We'll see
And
if you can get the names right.
yeah,
And
you
this is
don't
the first time
necessarily
we're
need to
doing it.
know their proper name, but the gimmick name you do.
Okay.
This is the first time we're doing it, so it might not go as planned. And for everyone going to be watching this on YouTube, it might not go smooth, but we'll see how it goes, and we might be able to tighten it up a little later on. But
Well, oh yeah, brother, let's do it. All right, Shawn, here's your first one.
name that guy.
Oh shoot.
Jeopardy theme song.
I don't.
I'll tell you what, there's a big band out there that's about to retire. They only got 2 more shows to do.
Yes.
So that is we'll give you half of a point. That is the Kiss Demon.
Okay.
Yep, WCW. So you said you're a WWF kid or WWE kid, so you might not have got that one, but
Yeah, and he didn't really have that long of a career after that because the other gimmick was just the demon, and
Right.
it kind of fizzled. Now you need to get this one, old school. Although you may not be able to see it. Can you see it fully?
No, I can't really see that one. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of hard to see.
well, you just pushed it back, Nate. You got to bring it forward.
Well, I wanted to get both of them in there, but well,
Yeah. Now this is a famous wrestler with a long lineage of brothers and people. He passed away, unfortunately.
Shoot.
He fell
um,
from the top of the ceiling from the
during
rafters.
a televised show.
Owen Hart?
That is Owen
Yep,
Hart. Do you
Is
know
it?
what?
yep.
Yes. That was his first character in the WWE. F at the time. He was the Blue Blazer.
Oh, yep.
So another half a point. You might not have to do 30 belly drops. This one, I don't really expect you to get because it's way before you were born. But you got to recognize the guy on, and I put these 2 pictures up like that for a reason.
Okay.
You know the guy on the right?
No, it's Macho Man.
Yeah. One of his first gimmicks is there on the left.
And on the left, I don't know.
That's when he was the Spider. And the picture on the right is from when he was in Spider-Man.
Yep.
I wouldn't have even guessed that one on the left either, so don't worry about that one, Shawn.
Yeah, Jim told me I was being hard on you with all the difficult ones I'm putting up.
Yeah, I gave him
Now
a
this
list of
one
who I
should be
wanted.
easy. This one is straight from Jim's mind.
The Boogeyman.
There we go. Gotta love the Boogeyman. Anyone who can eat worms in the ring and then spit them back up at you.
I'll tell you what, you couldn't pay me enough.
His valet, she would lay on the mat and let him spit a worm in her mouth.
Hey, more power to her.
Yeah. All right, you probably won't get this one because Jim said it would be too hard, but you got another guy on the left.
JBL on the left.
And this is one of his early gimmicks, not one of his first, but one of his early gimmicks.
Yeah, I don't know those one on the
It
right.
was only out there for like 3-4 months. And that means you have not watched our podcast very much, Shawn. Shame on you. Because Jim I've talked about this a few times. Vampiro Americano. Now, if you don't get this one, you can't come back to the Ace Academy.
Taker, and can you blow up the picture on the right side?
Because the Undertaker has talked about this gimmick before, too.
Taker, but I don't know the gimmick.
He actually beat Jerry Jarrett with this gimmick.
So it's kind of hard to deal with the Undertaker's early gimmicks because they were all pretty much the same, because the only when he first started, he was under the hood though, so that one was kind of hard. But as soon as he switched to Lawler's organization, that gimmick and the WCW gimmick was pretty much the same.
Right.
Master of Pain.
Master of Pain. Yeah, you could tell which ones Nate did and which ones I wanted to do. Mine were easy. You just had to think about them.
Well, this is one of yours.
You should get it.
Oh, man.
This guy's coming to FanFest this year under a different gimmick.
I know who it is, but I can't for the life of me think of who it is.
I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. That's his later gimmick.
Shit.
Sometimes you can link it.
Think of it.
Well, the gimmick that he's coming to the St. Louis Fan Fest Part 2 is the Godfather.
Oh, then that's
So,
the Godfather, then.
oh, you only know him as the Godfather?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This character was actually really good. When it first came out, it was more evilish, kind of like how they did it with Doink the Clown. The first version of Doink the Clown was that John Wayne Gacy type of character where you could tell that he was vicious and he was an evil clown. And then they switched him to another guy who is also going to be at the Fan Fest this year, but he was more of a happy-go-lucky clown. This is Papa Shango, and I really loved it when he first came out, because he was literally, that Louisiana type of
the Voodoo Witch Doctor.
Voodoo Witch Doctor. It was great. And then they started making him a little bit more funnier or, more related to the kids and kind of ruined the gimmick. But a great gimmick nonetheless.
Here's another one of Jim's.
The name.
Yeah. He used to come to SICW. His real name is Mike Shaw, or was Mike Shaw.
I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
Norman the Lunatic?
That was an old name for him. That's not the name in this.
I know that's not this one. I was hoping he would make the connection.
Well, that gimmick was even older than this one. So this is Bastion Booger.
Okay.
You remember that guy?
I think I've heard of the name. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff though.
Yeah. So this gimmick, the reason why, to me, he was like one of the most disgusting gimmicks out there because there's a lot of big fat wrestlers. I'm probably one of them, big and fat and still wrestle. However, the stuff that they put this guy in, like that gray material, he has like the inside thigh fat that looks all nasty because it's been rubbed so many times together, so it's not like natural nice skin. Right. And he would do a squash on you by sitting, kind of like doing the earthquake movement where he would run and jump on you on your chest. And just to see that nasty fucking inner thigh skin, man, it's like, oh,
Yeah, and don't forget, when Mean Gene would interview him, he would take a burger and shove it all over his face. It was pretty nasty. All right, yeah, you gotta get this one. Oh. Here's one of his most popular gimmicks.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yep, and here is,
Now this is an old picture. Now this
yep,
is
it's an old picture.
his partner is Sting. If you remember what their name was back when it was the Ultimate Warrior and Sting together.
I don't, to be honest.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, they were the Blade Runners. That's
Blade
when
Runner.
yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't realize you're so young. I knew you weren't 21 yet, but we just got to get your knowledge of wrestling built up, man.
Yeah.
That's okay. I have some softball ones coming up, although I think the movie came out before you were born, though. This one you may not know.
WCW.
He was a prior martial artist that patterned his look after a certain video game.
That video game, we'll just tell you, it was Mortal Kombat. He recently just wrestled in AEW. He did like a one night type thing.
I don't know this one.
Sub-Zero was the one he patterned after.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it gets really cold when he comes out to the ring.
Yep. That's his glacier gimmick. Some people didn't like it. I liked it.
I didn't mind it either. You know, they had a couple of like Mortal Kombat type of characters out there. Adam Bomb was one, and then there was another guy too that was that came out of like a Mortal Kombat gimmick. I can't remember what the names are yet.
Yeah, but then he was big enough he could have been on American Gladiators.
Yeah.
All right, now here's a really big guy. Extra credit. This is a WCW gimmick.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah. And extra opponent question, what was that gimmick?
I can't remember what it was.
The Great and Powerful.
No, nothing.
Nothing? Oh.
Man. It was the Great Powerful Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Normally he came out with this big head that he actually had to take off, and then that's what he looked like underneath the head. He talks about how that was the worst gimmick he ever had, and he almost quit wrestling because of this gimmick and then the other gimmick they gave him, which was crazy.
Yeah, the whole first year he was in WCW in '91, he barely made any money. He made more money doing this than he did the whole year in SICW or not in WCW. In 1991, I tried to lighten it, and this is the best I could do.
Were you ever a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan?
Yeah.
Yep.
So he did.
This is
Go ahead.
Super Shredder.
Okay, I was gonna something to do with the Shredder.
Right, he did that in one of the movies. I don't know which number it was, but had to be either 2 or 3 since he was the Super Shredder.
And the interesting thing about Kevin, aside from he's just a big, huge, nice guy, is normally wrestlers do get their fame doing wrestling, then go into movies. Kevin debuted in this movie and in wrestling the same year in 1991. So he's always been a star.
Well, I tell you, before he was even in wrestling or the movies, he was a basketball player, and he was doing pretty good on that too until I think he hurt one of his knees, and that's when he kind of shut down and started doing bouncing, and from bouncing, I think he went into wrestling. A lot of bouncers go into wrestling. It's kind of weird. Legion of Doom were bouncers.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, DDP owned a nightclub, so it wasn't really a bouncer, but still not that nightlife is what brings him in, I guess. Is there any more?
Nope, that's all the ones we had. I think we tortured Shawn enough.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of poor
Oh, wait.
showing.
Here's an extra credit question where you'll get everything, everything right. Who's this gimmick?
He don't know that one.
You
That
don't
one's
know that
probably
one?
complicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean, who was your idols in wrestling that you watched and wanted to be like, or who got you involved in, besides your uncle, besides your great grandma, who did you idolize in professional wrestling?
From when Jake was wrestling at SICW.
Well, no
Really,
independence. Who do you like,
oh,
or
like on
even
TV,
who do you like now? Who do you like in wrestling?
Cody Rhodes. I've always liked him all the way back to Legacy days. I've watched all that. I'm a really big Orton guy. You know, I've watched both Bob Orton's matches and Randy's. Um, that and Triple H, Batista. I mean, there was a good amount of them that I watched that I was like, take a little bit of moves from each of them and make them my own. Now that I'm wrestling,
I think, Jim, isn't Shawn the first one to name hometown people too? I think everybody else we asked that too always names everybody else.
Well, it might have been just the way I phrased the question.
No,
But
I meant
yeah.
like Randy Orton and Bob Orton.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah. I don't remember what everyone has said before, but yeah. I mean, Randy Orton, Bob Orton, you can't go wrong with them. I mean, they're local guys. Especially Bob. He gets to spend time with Bob. Every Tuesday that he comes and sits down with Bob and gets able to talk to him and pick his head. So I mean it's awesome when you can do that sort of thing. You know,
And for you, Shawn, what was a surreal experience seeing Bob Orton Jr. wrestling and then being able to sit down and pick his brain?
it was crazy. My first night, I had nerves. Like it was insane.
yeah, I mean, a lot of places don't have that, and it's not that Bob gets in there and does the whole night or anything. A lot of times he'll just sit back and watch. And then once you make that wrong move or you get into a hold different than how he wants you to, then he'll get a little riled up and get up in that ring and teach you the right way, his way to do it. And that's what I like about Bob. Uh, he likes the biggest thing is keeping it simple, stupid. Because there's a couple people that literally wants to do flippy floppy things, and he'll like, why do you even want to do that? Keep it simple. It's just a wrestling match. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to die over this. Keep it simple. Do simple moves. You can still get over.
Your
And
bunch card
and
fills up
it's
quick.
yeah, and it's a philosophy that it's legit. It works. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. His son is going to be a Hall of Famer. So yeah, I tell the story all the time about when I was, when I started training was the class after Randy over in Missouri, and his picture was on the wall. All the pictures of all the legends that came through St. Louis were on the walls in this gym, and this gym was you thought if a good windstorm would have came through, this building would have fell over because there was holes in the walls. It was a brick building, but the ceiling was pretty much gone. It was just tarps on the outside of the ceiling, on the inside of the ceiling, but it felt like the first Rocky movie when he started training in this uh, really shitty fucking building. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't have had it any other way because this building, it had definitely a lot of character behind it. But Randy was this pudgy, he was, I don't want to say he was out of shape, but he definitely wasn't in the shape that he is in now.
Right.
He just came back and he is kind of like he's chiseled now, but back in the day he wasn't. But so I was the first run after Randy went through, and so they always you knew he was going to go places. He wasn't even in WWE then. He was in FCW. Actually, no, he was in Old Valley Wrestling. And then he moved up to the WWF or WWE. But all right, so enough of me rattling. I like to sidebar a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, Sean, on your style, because a lot of people know SICW, St. Louis, and Jim and Bobby as the St. Louis Brutes, having a strong hand style, very forceful.
Right.
What do you want to pattern your style after? What are you going to go for in the future? Are you going to go a mixture of that with a little flippy floppies?
More, keep it, a little traditional with, actual wrestling holds and, little strikes. But other than that, just want to traditional and do a little flying stuff here and there.
Well, you do a good job. I mean, the first time I saw you when you debuted, you were a baby face. Now you kind of moved into a heel. What do you want to be?
I want to be a heel.
Oh, that's awesome. I think it's a lot easier being a heel than it is a baby. But once you switch and get a baby run in you, it's just as easy. But you know, my experience was totally different because I was always under a mask as a heel, so I was able to do whatever I wanted, and then go sit in the audience after I was done because no one knew who I was. So
Yeah.
it was great. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of superstars started as heels until the audience turned them. So you might want to be a heel, but I think a lot of the audience likes you. So they'll probably turn you and keep you as a baby, but who knows? It's whatever. You're just going to have to react to it. If they start trying to turn you and you still want to be a heel, you're going to have to, kick up your heel attitude and everything like that. But
Might be harder though. The girls running after you because you're a heel and you might turn baby.
Well, I'm glad you decided to come on. When we handed you out that award Saturday, I thought, this would be a good time for him to come on and kind of, give us a little background, to the audience. A lot of people hit us up with comments about how they like how we find out the backgrounds of the wrestlers because some of the people that come to the fairgrounds, they see what we want them to see, but they don't know the history behind the person or the background. And a lot of people have, commented about they love how we dig into the background of a person, and then, so they just feel like they know them a lot more. I'm going to give you one last question, and then we'll probably let you go. Is there anything that you would like your fans to know about you that they don't know now?
Not a whole lot. I mean, just don't sleep on me.
That is perfect. That is nice. I mean, you're going to be the future of the business. So as long as people like you and Brandon and Joey and Bryce, are coming through, and people like you that don't have that ego, you left yours at the door. As long as I can see the business, going the way it should. Because I feel as soon as you get an ego and you think that this business owes you everything, that's when you should walk away.
Yeah.
But you got a smart head on you, so I'm looking forward to see what you kind of do in the business. Hope you have a long career, and that's that's what all you can ask for is a long, healthy career. So
Yep.
I'll tell you, I hope you have a long, healthy career.
Save people during the day and beat them up at night.
There you go. I mean, he can't be a heel. How can you be a fireman and be a heel at the same time? He's going to be baby the rest of his life.
We'll
I
see.
could see your fans. I could see your fans, Shawn, coming up to you and going, "You saved my life. You gave me CPR," and you're just
No,
putting your hand out. Yeah, go away.
But yeah, so I just want to say thank you for coming on. Give us a little bit of feedback about where you've been and who you are. Like I said, I'm looking forward to see what you do. So I appreciate you coming on. But from everyone on the Squared Ring, this is just a little kickback. We're coming up to the holidays, so I don't. We might have one or two episodes in us, for Christmas week or the New Year's week. I don't know what we're going to do yet. A lot of places are taking off. A lot of podcasts are shutting down. So we'll see what we'll do. We'll think about it, man. I can't even talk now. Appreciate you, Shawn. Nate.
appreciate you guys having, and bringing me on.
Appreciate you, Shawn.
Yeah, definitely. And more than welcome to come back. So if there's something you want to talk about in the future or an angle you want to talk about or somehow any questions you have, just, hit me up and we'll get you on. And, if you have like a special moment that you kind of like Saturday, we'll get you back on. We'll talk about it.
All right.
So awesome.
Make
All right.
make sure you say hi to your family for us. Yeah.
I will. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Nate, you stay on. Shawn, you have a good night. All right. Thank you for coming on, bud.
See you
Merry
guys.
Christmas, Shawn.
All right. Just something simple. I just wanted to kind of do what I always do and kind of show you different things that I picked up. These are little guys. I've never seen these before. This is a little Hulk Hogan. This is
Well,
kind
his
of
head
cool,
and his body match.
right? This is Andre the Giant. So that's
That
kind of
one's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
No
And
baby
then,
oil.
no baby
No
oil.
baby oil.
And then we got a Stone Cold. Brandon's going to come back on, and we're going to talk about his year in the business because he's had such a great year.
He's
And
built the house well.
yeah, and we got to thank him properly for being able to give us money to support our families and everything with us. So we got to get him back on. But Brandon is one that does a little bit more studying of the business. So I think he would have got some. So we'll have to come up with another list for Brandon. And future guests, we're going to have Gary Jackson back on because we want to talk about him having the Sam Mushnick Award. He's being given that at FanFest 2. Plus, he has a big match coming up. It's going to be him and Attila in the
Cage match.
cage. Yep, January 13th. So next month, our very first show back.
Yep, if you
From
don't like blood, you better show up anyway.
yeah. So there's going to be some things happening in that one, because Stephen E is going to be on the outside. So you never know what he's going to do. But we also have a special referee in that match, and that's Danny Boy. And I spoke my respect about Danny Boy before. He was one of the guys to help train me in the beginning. So much respect for Danny Boy. So it's going to be interesting to see how this match plays out. Because I know Danny Boy will keep it down the line, straight. But Stephen E is going to be there, and I'm going to be wrestling one of his henchmen, Peyton Ayers, earlier in the show. So if I don't knock him out, you don't know if he's going to come back and screw around with the main event
Well, you
or
can
what.
probably count on it. At least try anyway.
Right. So definitely going to be a good show to come back on. Those are the only two matches that I know. No, I know one more. Speaking of Brandon Beretta, it's going to be the Top Guns versus LA Hustlers. and the tag belts are going to be on the line.
I was going to say the straps better be on the line.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely when Brandon comes in, we'll talk to him about that because I know he not that you know you want to be in a promotion, you want to learn, and you want to wrestle people and get that under your belt. However, you got to have that strive for a belt, and they've had opportunities, but they were still, as they say, wet behind the ears. So they weren't able to pull the trigger on it, pun intended. But they've been around the block a little bit now. So it's going to be interesting to see how they, treat the LA Hustlers, especially since they've dealt with Lucky P. Larson, in other matches. So they kind of know what to look for. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do if they can pull this off and actually become the new SICW champions.
Well, do you think that Brandon and Joey have been doing a good enough job to where we could get them down into Texas for the Texas style wrestling? The more harder hitting brute style.
Everyone's got a different walk of life. You're talking about going across, the states and going to Texas. So that's right now. Even me myself, we have a 9 to 5. So talking about going to Texas, that's going to be more than a weekend trip. So you never know if they can get some time off. I'm sure, with some help of James Beard, we can get them in there. Will they do good down there? I don't know. I can see Brandon doing good. I don't know about Joey. And I say this because Brandon is a great wrestler. And he can have, if he wanted to, he can be a little mean, so he can put some, he can
You can
pack
put a
some
hurt.
shit behind a punch. And I can see the aggressiveness in Brandon. But Joey, on the other hand, I don't think he has that aggressiveness, the testicle fortitude, as they would say, to make it in a strong style. But then again, him with Brandon on his side, he might not need it. Brandon could be the one that does it. So it'll be
Well,
interesting. But
and considering it's about exposure, you have the Von Erichs, you have James, you have JBL, you have Wes. All those people are down there. That's exposure for them when they want to move up. Well, not exactly move up, just go into different promotions like AEW.
Well, I mean, that's what Brandon and Brandon's taking Joey with him. They've been going to Memphis and wrestling down there, and here lately they've been having some AEW guys go down there and help train and put on the shows with them. And then recently, I want to say he went to Iowa or Ohio to deal with what's his name. AC3, EC3, who is the NWA heavyweight champion. Because the NWA just basically not opened a promotion, but they put another promotion underneath the banner of NWA. I want to say it's Ohio, but Brandon can fill us in a little bit better. But he went out there and did an EC3 training camp. So he was being taught by EC3. Now, and here's the thing too, Brandon and EC3 talk on a regular basis. And so, there is a door that can possibly be open to Brandon later down the road to join, either one of like the promotions underneath the NWA banner or going straight to the NWA. Because he's wrestled some NWA guys already down in the Memphis area. Because that guy that was supposed to come on our podcast, but something happened where he wasn't able to. The hillbilly Silas Mason. I know for a fact that Brandon's wrestled him before. Of
Yeah,
course
and I'm
now,
just going to stay quiet on him
right? Yeah, and that's
because this
fine.
is all going to be posted, and I don't want to
Sure.
cause drama.
So
Well, I kind of do, but I don't.
right. So I mean, Brandon's already opening up and trying to get the opportunities. So he's already trying to earn some opportunities. But yeah, anytime they can go out further and branch off. When I was talking about going to Texas, that's just I was just asking James Beard if he thought my style would work down there. Of course, he knows it would. Not meaning that I'm going to go to Texas and wrestle back out there in my home state.
I don't
But
know. You should go back to Gun Barrel.
right, and I should, and I'm not saying I won't. But
If you do, we're all going to be there with you. So
right. But yeah, so January 13th is the next show date, Belleville Fairgrounds. We're going to be at the fairgrounds for the next 6 months, I think, and then they're going to do some construction on that building. So not too sure where we'll go from there, but just keep us. We'll keep you guys posted. So just stay tuned to hear or watch the SICW Wrestling Explosion on YouTube as well, and keep you up to date on where we're going. And there's always extra dates, thrown in there for other, Fairmont City or, sometimes we went up to Forest Park and wrestled. So, well, all those extra dates we'll give you. But yeah, probably do some of this at the Ace Academy again, and
going to have to
try to
bring the
break them up on
TV
that.
and put him through practicing, doing promotions, and
Yeah.
having them watch it and say, okay, this is what you're doing good. This is what you're not doing good. I mean, that should be a part of the Ace Academy anyway, don't you think?
Yeah, well, so normally that is what Shawn does. When I go in there on the Ace Academy on Tuesdays, I mainly go in there and teach wrestling holds and teach wrestling sequences and stuff like that. Which it's weird. It's not a style that I use, but it's a style that I can teach. Because again, like you said, mine is a more hard nosed hitting type of brute style. But I can teach the catch can. Um, and it's weird. It's just that I can break down a match and put it together, and it's simply adding one move to a series of moves, and then it just turns out different. And I love doing that. So, but on Thursday nights when Shawn's got them down there, they do work matches. So they'll do a match, and then they'll do like a promo class where they try to get over on camera. But I think there's a difference, and so we need to add this down there as well, because unlike doing a promo, being able to sit down and talk about yourself and get yourself over, your personal self over, and adding the mix to your wrestling character. You need how to do that. So I think
I'm going to have to
bring
channel Mean Gene and get out there and just try to antagonize them, try to bring out an exaggerated character for them so they can.
For those once we get this Patreon up and running, there's some earlier videos that I had Shawn sit behind a desk and do this type of, and we only did it once, and it's a long time ago. So even like, all the students did it. So we got, Joey and Brandon and some of the other students that don't even go there anymore. So I'd be interested to see, like a look back at how far they've come. Because even Brandon, I sat there and watched some of the pictures that of him when he first got started at Ace, where he was more of a chubby guy versus now, where his life revolves around hitting the gym, revolves around wrestling, every day, all day, and you can tell just as his body, he's gone from this chubby, non-athletic, body into this like pure athletic dominating type of person, so it's kind of cool to see the progression. They're doing this. He's done it a couple times now where they'll be at the gym, and he works out at this gym that's like a roughneck type of gym. It's not like a Club Fitness or any of the real commercialized gyms. You gotta, yeah, I mean, you actually got to go through a questionnaire by the owner to even get into the gym. Because if you're just someone who doesn't want the gym life, he doesn't want you at his gym. So he goes to this roughneck type of gym, and it's funny because kind of back in the day when NXT first came out, there was a guy named Bobby Roode. And he had this theme song, and it started off like "Glorious," and a couple of the wrestlers would be like walking by him, and then they'll put the camera on him, and all of a sudden the song starts, and he just gives them this like look, and they kept doing it. It was like little skits every week. They had him where they woke him up. He was sleeping in his bed, and they were sneaking in. And as soon as he turned on the light to see who was sneaking into his room, his music hit "Glorious," and it was just funny. It was a funny thing. But Brandon is doing that now when my song comes on at the gym that he's at. You're like, "Oh, Texan's coming! Let's run and hide!" So it's kind of cool. But I actually need to get some of those clips and give them to you so you can see them because they're pretty funny.
And post them in Patreon.
Yeah, we'll post.
But with the Patreon thing, guys, with the two different levels, you're going to have access on the first level, the $5 level, to all of the raw footage for our podcast. So you'll hear all the stuff at the beginning and the stuff that's cut out in the middle, like what happened here with all the technical problems with I'm just going to blame it on the sun, the solar flares. But also some extra things that we don't post on any of our social media. The $10 level is going to be, well, for some reason, our episode number 39, the lost episode, has always been denied to be uploaded everywhere. And it's not even a bad episode. It was a great episode. And nothing really was said for some reason. I don't know why it won't post. It's rejected every time. So we'll post it on there, and then the Ace Academy we are planning on. It's not been finalized yet, to where we'll go down and film and do some So You Want to Be a Wrestler training things at the Ace Academy, and the interviews and the practicing.
So it's definitely going to be cool. We're definitely going to have, and we can even throw. Me and Bobby, Bobby's got a collection of his wrestling matches that we can throw on there. Definitely got a collection of mine that we can throw on there. And, so we can definitely have a backlog of everything that you can want to see about us as wrestlers. Or, we can even throw some of the old SICW shows on there. So,
And some of the ones that are a little bit, I'm not going to say questionable as far as copyright goes. It's not that SICW and Wrestling at the Chase doesn't own them. It's just that New Japan Wrestling and SICW sometimes don't see eye to eye on who owns what, since it was filmed in St. Louis. But for the Japanese market,
right,
they're button heads, and we just never post those because we don't want to have any drama.
Right.
And we can put those on Patreon just simply because they're a little more forgiving as far as having the person claiming copyright to prove that they own that copyright, of which we can prove they don't. But YouTube doesn't care about you being able to prove you have the right to use it. They just automatically strike you when somebody claims, oh, that's mine.
Yep, and then you got to jump through hoops to try to get that material back. So it's kind of crazy. So we'll set this up here pretty soon, and we'll let you know when it's set up and when you guys can start. So just good things coming down the pipeline. I do want to say shout out to James Beard and to last week's episode, and thank you guys because you made that episode our biggest episode to date. I mean, it's got We got
2,000
them,
and
man.
climbing.
We're a small little channel. We're not like ran by WWE or anything like that. So,
No, they don't like
um,
us.
right. So, we got over 2,000 hits, and that's pretty good for an hour and a half long podcast. Because a lot of people just love the small little clips, and then that's the best their attention span has. But you guys just stuck in there and watched that whole episode about the movie, The Iron Claw. And I get a lot of people still hitting me up like, how did you guys get to watch that movie? Because it's still not even out yet,
Yeah,
Uh,
me too. People come into my store and ask, how did A24 allow you guys to go in there, because we're such a small channel and we don't actively push like everybody else to get bigger. We would like to, but we do this because we like it, because we love it, and we enjoy each other's company. Or other channels do it because they want to make a ton of money up front and then go. Hopefully, I think people see the difference, because we want to know about the people. We want to know about the stories. We want to preserve the stories.
right.
And
And
for
sometimes,
me, I tell them, first I say, well, talk to Jim, talk to A24, talk to Dr. Jeremy Housewright, talk to James Beard if you want to know how it happened, because I don't have time to tell you.
yeah. But hopefully more good things come our way, and we can take advantage, of different situations. So it's always good to have friends. That's all I can say.
And
Um,
with all the people that we know, all the people that you know in the business, out of the business, none of us use those connections overly to try and just make things happen, because we want to keep those friends. We want to keep those connections.
right.
And I
Um,
was recently watching a podcast today, actually, where they interrupted the podcast because one of the guys on the podcast was begging for a job from the other people on the podcast
oh
and
wow.
saying, if you were my friend, you would give me a job. And that kind of derailed everything. At
Yeah.
that point, it's, why are you here?
Well, I've been in situations before too where you're talking to someone in a group setting, and someone has a tape recorder, and the mood changes, the conversation changes, because it's on tape, and a lot of legends don't like that. Even though we want to tell their stories, and some stories we got to tell secondhand, just because once it's out there in their voice, there's no taking the stuff back. And sometimes, back in the day, wrestlers got away with a little bit more stuff, or a little bit more raunchy, a little bit more crazy driving down the road. I mean, you hear the stories about Harley Race, where he'll have someone ride shotgun, and once that person hears that can go out the window, they better pop the top of the next one and put it in his hand. So it's those crazy stories that we like to hear and repeat, and even if we have to black out a person's name to tell a story, that the stories are should be told. But some of the legends don't like that, so you can't get the
Well,
legends on
yeah,
to tell
and
stories.
even to further your point, at the last Fan Fest, the whole thing was great. I liked it all, but one of my favorite parts is when we were all in the seating area, changing area, eating area, sitting down and listening to like Haku and everybody tell the stories from the past that we can't repeat here,
Right,
or put
right,
on put on the air, because one, will probably get banned, and two, they won't like it. But
right.
that was just fun watching it, and they knew that they were or listening to it. They knew they were in an area where nobody's recording, so they could say whatever.
Right.
They didn't
Yeah,
have
you
to
got you got to
water it
respect
down.
those ones that
Yeah.
are like that. But speaking of Haku, just with his family, uh, uh, what's his name? Alpha from the Wild Samoans. I was reading an article today that he's having some heart complications, and so he went in today and had two procedures done. Or he went in yesterday and had two done. He's back at home, so they're just asking for everyone to, send a little prayer their way. And then he's got to go back, I think, on the 22nd, like right before Christmas. As a follow up and stuff. So hopefully everything's good for that family. That's a royal dynasty there. That's Roman Reigns' relative. It's The Rock's relatives. So
and for the most part, they're all pretty nice guys.
yeah. The Samoans, Wild Samoans, have their own place. I want to say it's down in Florida too. They have their own trading place, and then they actually are on TV as well. So they have their own little TV program. So you just got to wish them well. Hopefully everything works out fine.
Wish them well, send positives, prayers, everything you can to them.
Right. But all right, I think we're good. So it was nice having Shawn on. We'll probably have him back. See how his career is folding out. Maybe halfway through 24 or something. Just to see how it's panning out, if he still thinks he's going on the right route. But other than that, again, thank you for last week. Your guys' views really helped us out.
Your guys' support has been awesome, and we never really considered Patreon, but with the more views it's getting, more people are asking for things like that from us. So.
On last week's podcast, there's a lot of comments, so please continue that. Let us know how you feel. I tried to get back with most of them today. Just talking to them about the movie and even how we got our name, because they threw out another name that we should have got, but I was trying to tell them, well, that name was already taken, so we went with this name because it's the closest thing to it, I love the interaction. So please comment, share, like, and we'll interact with you. There's times where I've seen Nate gets back on and comments and tries to carry a conversation. We'll love to do that. As you can tell, I love to talk. So I'll be happy to talk to you guys about anything. So,
Shawn, if you're watching this part, we didn't mean to kind of headbutt you. It's just the way that we are when we're talking about wrestling through the podcast.
All right, Nate. Everyone from the Squared Ring Podcast, thank you for watching. Like I said, please like, share, comment. Let us know how we're doing. Doing bad, doing good. Just let us know so we know what to do. Yep. But thank you, Nate. I know Bobby D is coaching tonight. And again, thank you for Shawn for coming on. I know it's rough being a rookie and coming on to something that you're kind of scared doing, but he handled it pretty well, and we'll just get him better next time. So thank you, Nate. But from everyone here, you guys have a good night. Thank you for
coming. Have a good night, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
See you guys.